Hello and welcome to today's interview. I'm joined by Steve Gooch, and we are talking about his new book on Reiki, the mindfulness meditation and the art of Reiki. And I'm super excited to have him here and have this conversation because I actually know nothing about Reiki or what mindfulness has to do with it. So I thought, what better way to have him here for him to explain, to ask these questions, and for you to see as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. Do you like
Hi,
to?
Sarah. Good to speak to you.
Yes, nice.
Do you want me to just explain a little bit about the book and what I'm talking about in that? Um, yeah, the system of Reiki is widely known as an energy healing discipline. Okay, it's not an ancient discipline. It's about 100 years old. It was invented by a Japanese guy called Makaru Sui around 100 years ago in Japan. So there's nothing ancient about it, but it is based on ancient methods. Now, this energy healing discipline, if you like, has spread rapidly around the world over the last 30, 40 years. It's become huge. I remember when I got into Reiki sort of 25 years ago, certainly where I live in the UK, there was nobody else. There was just me, and nobody had ever heard of this practice. Now you walk down the street and you bump into Reiki masters on every corner. They're all over the place. But what I want to say about this discipline is that I think for the most part, it is most people's understanding of an expression of Reiki is sadly profoundly shallow, because Reiki is so much more than an energy healing discipline. I get people come to me and say, look, I'm looking for um, a personal spiritual development practice. I'm sort of interested in Reiki. Do you think it will be okay? But I don't want to do any treatments on anybody. And you can see the guilt look on their face, because they've got this assumption that Reiki is an energy healing discipline. Therefore, to learn it means you must want to do treatments on other people. And I always say, absolutely, you do not have to do treatments on other people. I don't want to do treatments on other people. And I've been teaching it for 25 years. You could throw the energy healing part of that system in the bin, and you've still got a really good practice. And actually, the best part of the practice is not the energy healing part. That bit, that's easy. Anyone can do this. I can teach a 5-year-old how to do Reiki healing, and they'd be just as any adult I've ever seen. Um, and that's because it's very easy for all of us to focus outwards on other people. We can all look around and see, yeah, there's big problems in the world. There's problems with other people. There's things that we can do to help other people. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to help other people as much as we can. But what that is often hiding is an inability, or not an inability, but a refusal to turn inwards and look at yourself. That's tough. Helping someone else, putting someone else on a Reiki treatment table and giving them a Reiki treatment, that's easy. Anybody can do this. Nothing special about that in the slightest. But what is special, what's really quite something to be proud of, is if you've actually got the courage to look inwards
Mm.
and start working on yourself. That's tough. That's really hard for people. And that is actually what Reiki is all about. And, it is about becoming a better person as a practitioner. Your goal as a Reiki practitioner is to work on yourself and develop yourself to be the best expression of yourself in all ways possible. So yes, Reiki can be used as an energy healing discipline. It is, it's pretty good as a therapeutic tool. It's not as fantastic as most Reiki practitioners will tell you, to be honest, and I know that because I've been in this for 25 years. But it is an amazing tool to work on yourself. Now, I have seen things I would say I've seen a number of miracles happen with Reiki. You give somebody one or two Reiki healing sessions, and things that medical science say are completely impossible to achieve happen like that, just in a flash. Lives change as a consequence of one treatment. Now, that's pretty profound and pretty special, but that is very, very rare. For most people, when they come for a healing session, the chances are they're going to need a number of sessions. This is going to be an ongoing thing. It's not, most people are not going to have their problem fixed with one treatment. A lot of people, they're never going to get their problem fixed by Reiki. The best they might get is some alleviation from the symptoms of that problem. But fixing it for definite, for permanent, maybe not in all instances. It's great as a pain relief sometimes, but it may not fix the physical problem that's causing that pain. But Reiki is it's a very big subject, and the thing that I despair about is the unbelievably shallow understanding that there is of Reiki in the Reiki community itself, actually. And
So,
that's why I wrote the book. It needed to be changed.
so that's why I wrote the book. So I'm curious, of what is your personal story? What led you to
Mm.
start Reiki?
Oh, why did I get into Reiki? This was back in 1996. It was a long time ago, and I was just going through a really disastrous period of my life back then. I mean, it was just everything was just a big disaster. Nothing seemed to be going right, and I wanted to start a new career, and I'd sort of got this interest in alternative therapies, and I sort of knew a little bit about several therapies, but I didn't know anything, any particular therapy very well. So I thought, well, okay, maybe that's a direction that I could go in. And then I saw this article on this thing called Reiki that I'd never heard of before. Read this one-page article, and I thought, yeah, it sort of sounds interesting. Let's give it a go. Didn't cost much. It was only £75, and it just took 2 days. And I thought, well, if it's a waste of time, I haven't really lost a lot. And what was remarkable about that, I'm really big on getting signs from the universe, messages from the universe. And at the time, I was unemployed. It took me 3 months to save that £75 to go on that workshop. And I remember walking around my hometown thinking, just talking myself out of going on this workshop. This is crazy. Why am I doing this? I need this money to pay for this, and I've got these bills to pay for. And I just got to this point where I was about to decide not to go because I needed that money. And I looked up, and in front of me was this huge billboard across the side of this building, and it just said, "The magic is closer than you think." And I thought, that's it, I've got to go. And it just profoundly changed my life, from that point on. And so I completed the master's training. I don't particularly like that word master. You can't master Reiki, you know. It's an unfortunate word in the system, but I became a Reiki teacher, and I started teaching in the UK back in 1997. Then moved to Egypt, started teaching it in Egypt. I was the first Reiki teacher in Egypt, and now I'm the #1 Reiki teacher in Egypt. I've taught it in Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Lithuania, Jordan, Cyprus, lots of different places, written 2 books on it. And, it's just profoundly changed my life, in so many ways.
So what impact did Reiki have on your life? If you can picture yourself back to the time where you first started, where did
Mm.
that journey lead you to?
Um, that's a good question. I guess it's led me to now. I mean, and I can't necessarily say that the benefits that I've got from Reiki wouldn't have come without Reiki, but certainly, I can see the way that Reiki has pushed me on my own spiritual journey. It's deepened my understanding of, the nature of everything, the nature of me, the universe and my part in that and of other people. It's just I'll tell you a story about one of my clients, one of my students. She came. This was in Egypt. She was a um, she was a very professional corporate. Worked in a very corporate, high level corporate uh, career. And she came to me once and she said, "Look, Steve, I need a Reiki treatment." She said, "I've got to fly to New York. I've got this meeting to go to." She said, "I've got all of these deadlines that I'm leaving behind. I've got, a stack of work like this." And she said, "I'm just so stressed." And she said, "I need a Reiki treatment." So she lie on the treatment bed. Okay, come on, just lie down. So she lie down on the treatment bed. And I started into this treatment. So, and I'm literally, I guess I'm no more than 5 minutes into the start of this Reiki treatment. Yeah. So my hands are somewhere on her head. And then I drop into a meditation, a very specific meditation. You don't just pick a meditation. There are certain meditations that you need to work with in the context of Reiki. So I dropped into this particular meditation, and within a minute, I guess, within about a minute of me starting into this treatment, I literally felt my mind and her mind merge into one. There was one mind. And then the concept of mind vanished. And there was just awareness. And there was just awareness of energy. And then it stopped. That experience just ended. And it must have been a fraction of a second that experience happened for, but it felt like infinity. It was never ending. There was nothing but that experience. And I came out of that. Literally, I'm not even 5 minutes into this treatment, and it's done. I'm finished. And she gets off the treatment bed, and I was about to say to her, like, how do you feel? And she said, my mind is like a sheet of glass, and there's not a thought on it. And she went, shh. And
Just
she
want
just
to
went.
enjoy it.
Absolutely. And it's moments like that where you realize that the potential of the system is actually, it's not about healing people. It's about taking people on a journey to a realization of the absolute nature of the entirety of the universe. And you merge back into the absolute. That's the gift of Reiki. That's where it can take you. And a lot of people will talk about that, but they don't know the mechanisms of how to achieve it, and they've never experienced it. There's very few people that have experienced the depth that Reiki can take you on, in terms of that journey. It's just truly profound.